Hi, welcome to my channel, The Bag Maker Society. If you're new here, my name's Deb, and if you've been before, it's lovely to have you back. In today's video, I'm going to be going over how I do my crossbody straps with no raw edge. So if you want to cut down on your hardware a little bit and basically have no raw edges shown on your strap, so you don't want to add strap ends, either because you want to cut down on costs or weight of the bag or whatever reason, you just maybe don't like them. I'm going to show you how I make my crossbody straps with no raw edges showing on the ends. This strap is a 3/4 inch strap, so my measurements to cut out were 3 inches wide by the entire length of my fabric. If your fabric is a little bit shorter and you need to piece it together, you need to make sure that your width or length of your fabric, your length of your fabric is at least 56 inches for a crossbody strap. So for a 3/4 inch strap, it was cut at a width of 3 inches because it was folded over twice. If you want to make your strap at a different width, so either 1 inch, 1/4, 1.5, you would just quadruple the width of your fabric. So I'm going to take you through the steps now and show you how I do this crossbody. So to do the no raw edge strap, I am going to make some lines. Obviously I've already made the lines, but how I've done this is I have made a full line 3/8 of an inch down, and then I've made some second marks 3/8 of an inch down from that line. Now this strap is 3/4 of an inch wide, so I've then marked in 3/4 of an inch from the middle. I've done that on both ends, and I've put some double-sided tape down the middle, and I am just going to remove these corners. So I made a line connecting this mark here with this bottom mark, and it leaves you with this shape. I'm going to remove the tape and I'm going to start by folding in from the center. Now I don't start at the outer edges because that can sometimes cause your strap to twist. So I always start at the center and work my way towards the edges. Now when you're doing a double fold strap like this, you want to leave a very, very small gap along the middle. So when I'm folding in, I'm not quite folding in to meet that line. I'm leaving just a sliver of a gap. So I'm going to leave the end for the time being, and I'm going to come back along and work my way to the other end. Don't worry if your faux leather pops up off the double-sided tape, because we're going to press that down in a second. So I am going to fold over this end on that line and stick it down to the just to that little bit of tape there, and then fold over this corner so that you get a nice crisp, hopefully you can see that nice crisp edge there, and I'm just going to put a clip in that. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. I just want to make sure that I'm folding exactly on that line. And again, just put a clip in to hold it. And then I'm just going to repeat the entire process on the other side. And then once that's done, I'm just going to use my roller to roll along and flatten down this entire strap. If you need to adjust it, just do that as you go. And that will just help push it down into the double-sided tape and stop it lifting. And it will also get it nice and flat and smooth. So now we're just going to fold this in half and get these two folded edges to meet. And this is why that we haven't put the edges completely butted up to each other, because we want to allow a little bit of space in order for these edges to fold and them not be sort of pushed up against each other in that fold. So I am just going to pop some clips in all the way along. And then when we get to the end here, just take those two clips out. Make sure everything's lined up nicely. Pop one clip in the end. You'll find I use quite a lot of clips to keep everything in place. I don't think there's such a thing as too many clips. And then I'm just going to take this to the sewing machine and I am going to sew down each end, like each long side and each short side as well, fully top stitching this entire strap in place. Now if you want to use a seam guide at this point to keep everything lined up, feel free to do that. I know that if I line everything up with the edge of this foot, it will keep everything in place. I am going to use a top stitching length of 4.5. And when I get to the corner, I'm going to leave my needle down, I'm going to raise it slightly and then turn, and that will hopefully mean that my stitch is fully caught and I shouldn't get a diagonal stitch on that corner. So to make my rivet marks for adding my hardware on, I like to use my ruler that I got from Studio 77. It was in my Advent box and I absolutely love this thing. So I always use this, it probably isn't showing up too well because it's glittery, but I always use the end that's marked centimeters. There's a centimeters and inches side. I go from the centimeters side and I line it up with the edge, and I've found the perfect placement. So I mark the first hole, I then leave 3 holes and mark the next hole after that, and that leaves me enough space to put the hardware on and put the rivet in. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So mark the first and mark the 5th, and then I'm just going to take my punch tool. I like to use this Japanese screw punch, again just personal preference, and punch my holes in. And I just make sure that I've gone right the way through. And then I'm going to get a couple of rivets and add my hardware. So I use a green machine or rivet press to set my rivets, but you can use a hand tool to do this. So I am going to get my lobster clasps and my strap adjuster and put them in. So first thing that I'm going to do is put my strap adjuster on, and I put my rivet through one hole and then through the other. And when you're applying rivets, you want just enough, hopefully you might be able to see that, you want just enough of the rivet to be through the back of the fabric to secure the double-sided cap. You don't want too much post coming through, because then there'll be too much excess post to go into the other side of the cap, and it won't set right. If there isn't enough post, there won't be enough grip and it won't hold. So if you take your rivet and have a good look at it, you'll see there's sort of like a little dent in the post. That is basically where you want your fabric to sit. You want to just see that dent peeping through your fabric, and that is perfect. So I am just going to set this rivet. And when setting rivets, you don't need to you know, set with all your life. Just a good press, a good firm press is all you need. Sometimes oversetting can actually weaken the rivet. So I'm just going to add on my lobster clasp, and how I like to do that is I turn my strap upside down. So I have the back of my strap facing up. I then thread my strap into my lobster clasp with the clasp facing down and pull through, and I'm making sure that it's all straight and not twisted. I'm then going to come back up through my strap, and again I kind of give it a good feed through, because that way I'm kind of making it smaller, and I can double check that I'm not twisted. I then turn it upside down again, and this is just my methodology of working. It helps keep me right. I turn it upside down again, and I put my second lobster clasp on in exactly the same way that I put my first one on. And again, it just helps my brain keep me right. And then I'm going to add my second rivet. So I'm just pushing that through, and then again there, hopefully you should be able to see, I just have a nice amount of post coming through the back end of that fabric, and I set that rivet, and there is my no raw edge strap all complete and ready to go on my finished bag. So this is a bag that I made recently that features this strap with the no raw edges. It's an Annabelle, which I have quilted both the front and the back panels. I have added a zipper panel on the front and also piping. If you would like to see a tutorial on this bag, please do let me know in the comments box down below, and I will get to that. If you found this video helpful, please do give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel, and I will see you on my next video soon. Bye.